Welcome to another installment of the Real Authority Double Feature. I'm going to try to do this in one take. So today I'm analyzing whether or not The Bad Guys 2 and The Naked Gun are good. Might as well start off strong with The Bad Guys 2. A legion of bad girl criminals decide to recruit the bad guys who went good in order to do a heist, which includes interfering and intercepting a moon launch. When it comes to the first Bad Guys, I was really entertained. I only saw it like a few days ago, quite literally. And I was endeared by how much it worked. Like, it's not a perfect movie, but it's a perfectly enjoyable animated film with a lot to offer, even if you're above the age of 10. So when it came to the sequel, I was optimistic after seeing it especially, and unfortunately it's kind of a mixed bag overall. Like, it's enjoyable, but not as enjoyable as the first one, but there are some positives. The voice acting was good in the first movie, the voice acting continues to be good here. Sam Rockwell, Mark Moran, Craig Robinson, Anthony Ramos, Aquafina, and Zazie Beetz round out the cast as the main bad guys and as well as the governor. The rest of them do well too, but those are the ones that I feel are worth the acknowledgement. Of course, with a DreamWorks animation film, the animation is usually stunning, so of course, it's stunning here. They, in fact, do a lot of unique animation techniques like Alice Spider-Verse, having so many cool moments that differ in comparison to the rest of the animation, but it does work. Plus, that rocket sequence that the trailers only gave you hints of, that was actually pretty cool. I would easily say it's the best part of the movie, and the subsequent space sequence wasn't half bad either. It was actually really enjoyable. Some jokes landed with me, a lot of others, positives. Unfortunately, the story kind of fell flat. Like, it should be a simple layout, but I feel like with the writing, it's not as strong as the previous one, or at least as simplistic enough to work as the previous one. I feel like Ethan Coen and Yoni Brenner really missed the mark with this one, at least in a lot of places. I didn't feel the presence of the bad girls really left a mark. They were severely underdeveloped, in my opinion. Plus, even though the main plot should be revolved around them recruiting the bad guys, it somehow does a lot of other things which feel unfocused by the end. Like, there were a lot of things that I feel like they just threw out there because, no spoilers, but the opening scene is followed up a little bit later. The follow-up wasn't really important to the plot, it was just, there's a plot device. And finally, because I don't really have that much to say about this movie, we'll get to the Naked Gun in a minute, don't worry. But the movie kind of bored me, unfortunately. Like, I felt like with the first movie, the 90 or so minute runtime really did work. Now, this movie runs about 10 minutes longer, and even though that shouldn't be a problem, here I kind of zoned out a bit, like in the middle chunk. Luckily, the final act does do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of my enjoyment with it, but unfortunately, the lead up to it, I just keep coming back to the fact that it bored me, and I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. If you have kids, it's definitely a good enough satisfier, definitely better than Smurfs, holy crap. I do feel unlike the first one, it doesn't have a lot to offer for anybody outside of kids. It still has some things, some intriguing things, but I feel like it's not enough to really justify going to the theater aside from being a parent and needing something to satisfy your kids. So the Real Authority approves. For streaming, 6 out of 10. Now onto the Naked Gun. Weird transition, but whatever. Liam Neeson plays Frank Drebin Jr., who is basically trying to solve a case revolving around Pamela Anderson's brother's murder. Wacky hijinks ensue because Naked Gun, it's a spoof series. And I gotta be fairly honest, like The Bad Guys, I saw the other installments recently. I'm surprised to say they are actually pretty funny. Specifically the first one. The first one, oh my god, I don't think I've laughed that hard in my life. It's very hilarious. Some of the jokes do not land, but the ones that do have me dying. Smell of Fear, the sequel, wasn't as good, but it was still funny to an extent. The final insult had me laughing occasionally, but I unfortunately did not like it, and when it came to this new reboot, my expectations were mixed. I was hoping for the best, but because of how much the series kind of drizzled out momentum-wise, and also the fact that the series creator kind of disowned the film beforehand, saying how he wouldn't have chosen Liam Neeson as his Frank Drebin, you know, that had me worried, but overall I was still hoping to give the movie a chance, and wow, man. This movie was surprisingly strong in terms of its humor. Like, I was shocked at how much I laughed, but also the negative expectations beforehand may have just sent me into thinking this would fail, because let's be real here, Leslie Nielsen is Frank Drebin for life. And also the comedy was just so solid that I didn't know whether or not they could duplicate it. And they surprisingly do in a lot of places, but also continue it in this way that makes me happy that they kind of made this movie. Like, it keeps in spirit with the original film, surprisingly enough. Starting off the bat, Liam Neeson, like, he's no Leslie Nielsen, but the fact that he's actually really funny in here, I feel like he was a great choice for Frank Drebin Jr. So serious, yet he's able to play with the witty script in a way that it's the seriousness that makes you laugh. He's so committed to the bit, like Leslie Nielsen did back in the 80s and 90s. It's so funny. Pamela Anderson also did great as the love interest, Beth. Maybe the original relationship was much stronger, but I do feel that for a follow-up to that, I feel like Neeson and Anderson's dynamic was actually pretty strong. For Akiva Schaffer, I felt like his directing and screenplay alongside Doug Mand and Dan Gregor was actually pretty strong. I was surprised at how strong it was. It never takes itself seriously. It's so goofy that it just works. I was surprised at how much I just laughed. Probably the best comedy of the year. I was actually surprised with how outrageously funny it was. Plus, solid pacing. 85 minutes is usually the Goldilocks zone for this franchise. With this movie, it absolutely benefits from that runtime. It's perfectly paced. Like, I was surprised at how well paced it was. Maybe toward the end it gets a little bit slower, but never boring. Never bored. Always funny. Yeah. Also, can we talk about the action? The action comedy element really did work. Like, there was one scene toward the end, like, that image, I'm not sure if I could explain it that much. I feel like you have to see it to believe it. It's toward the end, it's kind of amazing. Like, so creative and inventive that I kind of just have my jaw on the floor. It's so good. Of course, it pays tribute to the original. Of course, we were expecting that, so of course it works in that way. It doesn't feel like a forced legacy sequel. It actually does it in a very natural way, such as including many hilarious jokes in the credits. Definitely stay for the credit. Also, Cody Rhodes. And now for some mixed elements. It's not a perfect movie. Then again, the original wasn't perfect, but I feel like the original had more jokes that landed, or in comparison to the jokes that didn't. I feel like a lot more here. There are some jokes that really do not land and feel juvenile. Like this one scene from the trailer, I was like, okay, this movie might not be good. And even though that scene wasn't as unfunny as I thought, like, I did laugh a bit during the sequence. It did feel a bit awkward. But overall, I was really impressed with how good The Naked Gun was. It's hilarious a lot of the time. It really does feel in the same vein and style as the other movies, surprisingly enough. So, in all honesty, this is probably the best Naked Gun movie, probably since the original. I definitely laughed more here than the two sequels, so yeah. It serves as a great continuation and companion piece to the legacy of the original, and you know what? I recommend it. Real Authority absolutely approves. I was actually editing my review and I realized, why am I giving it a 9? I feel like I'm stopping myself from giving it a 9 by focusing on the mixed elements. So you know what? F it. Approves 10 out of 10. I don't care anymore. This was so damn fun. So yeah, another Real Authority double feature for the weekends where I see two films and can't say enough about them in order to justify two separate videos. So yeah, Real Authority double feature. See you guys next time. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. And make sure to comment your thoughts on either Bad Guys 2 or Naked Gun. Don't know what else to say. I guess I'm gonna go. Peace.